Hi everyone, welcome by my second part of my tutorial for building a Google Assistant of cardboard. And if you did the previous steps, then by now you will have fully assembled Google Assistant in cardboard. And I'm going to show you how it will look like when you get that far. Here you can see my Google Assistant of cardboard. You see everything is nicely assembled. I have like all the cables correctly set to my button. Yeah. You see that all the ports nicely aligned. And I also plugged in the SD card. I plugged in the power cable. This is a micro USB cable of connection. And I'm using a cell phone charger to charge it. It uses 2.1 amps. And when you plug it in, you will see that it's turned on. It's you can see it in the camera. You'll see it like a little green light. You can see here in the corner. And that means it has power, and that's what we need because we will SSH. So we make a connection into this device from our laptop, so from our main computer. If you think this is all too difficult, you can also plug in your keyboard and your mouse and monitor. There is an HDMI connection in the cardboard and another data micro USB connection. That means that you will need an adapter that uses micro USB and probably like a splitter that creates multiple connections for your USB keyboard and USB mouse. I don't have these equipment with me. I think SSH is easier, but we will write some Linux commands on the command line. But I'm going to show you how, so it's not that difficult. So the first thing that you will need to do is you need to make an internet connection on your Raspberry. And to do this, we can do this now easier because on the Google Play Store there is an app called AIY Projects. And that one can make this connection to you because you need to, of course, need to select the network. I'm going to show you how you do this. So let me switch back to my GoPro. And here's my phone. If you go to your Google Play Store, you search for the AIY Projects app, and then you can install it. And please make sure that the developer is Google. You see that Google LLC. Once you have downloaded the app, you can open the app and we will need to make a connection. When you open the app, it looks kind of like this. And we're making use of the Voice Kit. So you tap the Voice Kit button. And here you see that we will make a connection, an internet connection. So you need a wireless network. We clicked on connect. And yeah, it tells you need to be sure that your kit is assembled. Well, yes, that's the case. You press continue, and then you need to pair your voice kit. And the way how you do this is by opening your cardboard. Luckily, I have it opened. And if you look inside of it, you see like this little button. I can press that button, and if you hold it, at some point it will start blinking. Yeah, when you see it blinking, it looks like this. Then you can go back to your app. And in the app, you will say, continue to pair. You're in pairing mode. Click continue. And then you need to give it access. Allow access. It takes a moment to pair, but then it will switch over. See, there's my voice bonnet, shows up. I can tap it. And then it's paired. Okay, so the next step that you will do is you will need to log in on your Wi-Fi network. And this works best if you have a 2.4 modem connection. If you don't see your network name in the app, and that's possible, you can try to repeat the setup process and do the connecting over and over again. It might show up. If you keep continuing having issues, what you also could do is you could just tether your connection of your phone because it's only for testing purposes. So either way. But keep in mind, whatever connection you use, that will be also the connection that you need to use on your laptop, on your PC, because you need to be on the same network in order to make the SSH connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect to my wireless network, which is a modem. And it sees it asks me for a password. So I will enter my password here. And then it's connected. You press continue, and once you press continue, you will see your Voice Kit's IP address. And it usually starts with 192.168. Okay, now that is the IP address that we need to keep in mind, because that is what we will use once we make the SSH connection. Let's test it out and see if the Google Assistant works in our cardboard. Now, the SD card where the kit comes with is likely outdated. You need to download the latest version of the Raspberry Pi AIY project image. And you do this through the GitHub page of Google. And I'll show you where you can download this one. So the URL is github.com/google/AIY projects. That's Raspbian/releases. And then you need to download the XZ file, or the top one. You download that, it's above a gigabyte, and you will store that somewhere on your disk. So you do this on your desktop or your laptop computer. Now the next step is you need to download some software that can burn this image on your SD card. And the tool that we will use is the Raspberry Pi imager. So if you go to raspberrypi.com/software and then you scroll down the page, you will see the Raspberry Pi imager, and you can download it for the system that you're on. So I'm downloading it for macOS. Now I have already downloaded and installed the tool. So once you're done with that, kind of looks like this. You will also need to plug in your SD card. And luckily I have it here. I took the SD card out of the Raspberry Pi cardboard, and I'm plugging it into my reader. And then I am plugging it into my computer. Once that is done, I can go back to the Raspberry Pi imager, and I choose the operating system that I'm making use of, which will be custom. So select use custom, select OK. I'm gonna find the file that I will need, which is this one. Let's open. The next thing what you will do is you choose the storage device, and be careful because here you need to select the SD card because you don't want to store it anywhere else, or you don't want to format and flash your drive. Yeah, so once you plug in your card reader into your laptop with the SD card inside of it, you will see it showing up. You select the storage drive, and then you click write. This will confirm that you will erase the disk, the 8 GB Lexar SD, micro SD, with the new image that you just downloaded. Hit yes. You need to specify your root password. Give it access to all the files, and there you go. Yes, and we're done. That took about a couple of minutes, but it's important that you format your disk and replace it with the new firmware. Now we can take out the SD card from the computer and plug it back into the Raspberry. Now the next thing that you will do is you will open up a terminal or a console, and I have one open here. You can open that, it's called terminal. If you don't see it here, because I of course created a shortcut, you can go to your applications folder and find it there, or you search for terminal. Yeah, and then you can open it that way. If you're on a Chromebook, you can also use the Secure Shell Chrome extension. In the setup of the AIY projects page, you can see a link to that plugin, and then it will kind of work similar. But I'm using the Mac terminal, that makes it easy for me. And at this moment, I'm gonna connect to my Raspberry Pi. And the way how I do that is I'll write SSH Pi, which is the username, and then I'm using the IP address that is shown in my app. And then I hit enter. And now you see that the connection is made. You need to store the connect and save the key. So I say yes. You have to type yes. Right, and then it's a host. Now you need to enter the password, and when you start or make the connection to the Raspberry for the first time, then the password will be Raspberry. Now the tricky thing here is when you type the password, you won't see it on the screen, so be very careful that you enter it the right way with the keyboard and then hit enter. If you do it wrong, you'll get a permission denied message and you can redo it again. Now you see here on my computer, the connection was made. This is amazing. We're now logged in. Now we need to make up the set up the connections. The first thing what I will do is the audio test. So I'll type in ALSA mixer. And you see this is my audio test screen. And by default, the audio of the voice bonnet is super loud. And we can lower it a bit. Then you press the down key a couple of times and you see it goes down. And yeah, they suggest 40. I think I'm gonna leave it to 50. That's a nice audio. So I keep it that way till it's about 50 or 40. And then when I'm done, I hit the escape button to escape the test app. Now I'm gonna launch the test script, and the way you need to find it, where it's located on the SD card. So you type in /home. You can tap to make sure that you have the directory names right. So it's home, Pi, AIY project. It's in Python. We hit checkpoints and then check audio Pi. Hit enter.
Front, center.
Did you hear the test sound? Yes, I did. And when you're ready, then press enter and say testing 1, 2, 3. We're now going to test the microphone here. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
The audio is a bit distorted, but that's fine because it just needs to capture my voice to understand what was being said. So I can say yes here in this case. And then enter to close. All right. Now we're going to go to the next set of steps, because what we will do next is we will download an assistant key on our Raspberry. And the key we can download from the Google Cloud console. So the next step will be that we will log in into Google Cloud Platform, and from there we will download the Google Assistant key, which we eventually will copy over to the Raspberry Pi. So in your browser, go to console.cloud.google.com and log in with your Google address or your Gmail address, and then you will get in here in this platform. If it's the very first time you're using Google Cloud Platform, then you probably need to accept some terms and conditions. You're not using any money here. It's just a free API that we need to enable. So once you're in the console, you will need to create a Google Cloud project. And to this project, we tie the Voice Kit APIs. So this is probably empty for you. For me, it's another project being selected. So I click on the arrow down, and it opens a pop-up. And from this pop-up, I can select new project. New project, it goes to the project select screen. From here, I can give it a name. And I give it a name, Voice Kit. billing account. Even though this project won't cost you any money, when you use Google Cloud, you need a billing account. So that is what you will have to create here. And then you select your organization and you hit the create button right under my video. This is creating the project. Give it some minutes because it needs to spin off all the resources that you need for a project. And again, this is a free project, won't cost you any money, but you have to go through these steps. Once the project is created, you can select the project from the project selector, so Voice Kit. There you go. From the Voice Kit project, I can go into the navigation menu and you search for APIs and services. There it is. And you select it and then you select library. Here you will come into the library screen and you search for Google Assistant. Showcase the Google Assistant API. You can select that one and then you hit enable. Now what you will do next is you will need to create a key. So from the manage screen, so you're still in the manage Google Assistant screen. We're now going back to the navigation menu and then you scroll all the way back to APIs and services and then you click on credentials. Now you click on create credentials in the top and you say OAuth client ID because we're going to use this key with our email address. You choose the application type that we're going to build. In this case, it will be a desktop app because it's a Linux Raspberry Pi, right? We give it a name. Let's give it Voice Kit. Create. And it comes up with some keys. We need to hit the download JSON button. This will download our key. Then if you go back to the menu, on the left you see OAuth consent screen. Here we will add our own email address as test user. So if you scroll down, you'll see a paragraph called test users, and there you click add users. I've already done this, but here you can do it yourself. If you click on add users, then you can specify all the email addresses that you need, the email addresses that you use with your Google Assistant account. If you hit save, then this table will be pre-filled, and that's all okay, what you need. Then if you go to your Finder, you find the key that you just downloaded on your machine. I found it here, and you will open this with a text editor. This can be just text edit, but it can also be an coding editor. So what you see here is my code, and what I do is I copy it all, the whole key and everything, and I copy it to clipboard because this is what we will paste in our Raspberry once we make the connection back in. Now, if we go back into our Raspberry Pi, so I will create a new file, and the file is called assistant.json, and this is where I paste the key in, and the example codes that are currently installed on the SD card, they will look for this file because they expect that the key is in that file. So we will create this file. It's very easy. You type in nano assistant.json. That means like nano is the editor and assistant.json is the file. The file doesn't exist, so I will create it. I paste in the key. Then you hit Ctrl O and then enter, and that saves the file on the disk, on the SD card. It looks like there's only one line, but that's correct because the whole key was on one line. There were no line breaks. So it's correct that it kind of looks like this. If you press ls here, then you can verify to make sure that the assistant.json file is on the disk, as you can see. And that's all we need for now. The next steps is testing if the examples work. All right. So now that we have the Google Assistant.json in the root of our SD card, and we're logged in back to the Raspberry Pi through SSH. Now you can see that I navigated to the examples folder that you can find in the AIY Voice Kit /python/source. And now I need to run the example script. I'll do that by typing voice and then assistant grpc demo.py. Right. So what it does here, it is giving me a URL that I need to visit on my laptop. And here I need to give access to my user account, which is what I'm going to do next. So I'm pasting the URL from the terminal into a browser. I hit enter. And here I can log in with my user account that I want to use for my Google Assistant. So I give it access rights. Then I copy the code that it returns me back. And I paste this in the terminal. And again, then you hit enter. If you run into errors, then make sure that you're using the same Google account on the Raspberry as that you used on the Google Cloud Platform. If that was an issue, if you didn't do that, not a big deal, then go to your IAM settings in Google Cloud Platform and add the other email addresses to your Voice Kit project. And then you can run and execute the script. So I executed the script again, and now you can see that it asked me to press the button for a conversation. So let's give that a try. You see also that my button started to light up. It's a nice red color. I hope that doesn't mean anything bad. Yeah, let's press the button and try it. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
What is the weather today?
Right now in Amsterdam, it's 7 degrees and partly cloudy. Today, it'll be rainy, with a forecast high of 8 and a low of 4.
You see that while I start speaking, it starts also writing out my text. What is the meaning of life?
To exist means to have a way of living. My way of living is to search, so I guess the meaning of life is searching and learning.
Yeah, so there it is. By now you have completed the tutorial. You have created your own Google Assistant with Cardboard and a Raspberry Pi. We've installed the scripts. We've installed the Google Cloud Key. We have activated the Google Assistant scripts, and you're able to run it. So good luck and have fun with it.